everybody. This is Kane Wagner with the Appalachian ADV Community Podcast and owner of Appalachian ADV. And I'm on podcast today with a couple of really good friends of mine, Mike and Tambra, the two adventure couples here from Cross Adventuring. How you guys doing?
Good. We're raring to get out there.
Yeah,
we're ready.
So this will be interesting because this is the first time I've done an interview with two people. We got three of us in here. Hopefully this works out pretty well. I think it will. You guys are used to working together with your YouTube channel. So let's start with like a little intro to you guys. Just maybe real quick, like where you guys are from, your hometown, and kind of like what you do outside of this cross adventuring thing.
We're in northern Venango County near Titusville. Both of us born and raised here. Both of us moved away for a little bit and then came back. I came back sooner than she did. And both of us kind of had parallel childhoods. We grew up with adventurous parents who dragged us all over the place, all over the country, took us to national parks, took us camping, and all the activities that go along with that, except power sports. Neither one of us did that.
Yeah.
And so when we finally connected, it was later in life. It was 15 years ago, maybe a little more.
Right in there. Yep.
And we connected over kayaks. So we were both into kayaking at the time.
Yeah.
I did a lot. At that time, I was windsurfing and kayaking and rollerblading. And those were probably my three top passions. And then camping goes along with that. And you were kayaking and
wanting to get back outdoors. I'd been living in the DC area for 20 years and had two little girls, so I wasn't getting a whole lot of the outdoor stuff that I really wanted to be doing, but I also brought them back up to Northwest PA to live here so we could go do more easier. So
that's how I enticed you to take an interest in me.
It was that kayak on the roof.
The kayak, two 16-foot kayaks on the roof of my Jeep. And motorcycles were not in the picture at all.
Yeah.
My only connection to motorcycles was when I was a kid. When I was in my early teens, a relative had given us a 1963 Honda C105, the original Honda 55 Trail, which was the predecessor to the Trail 90. And it had already seen a pretty rough life before I got it. But it still ran, as they always do. And my friends from the neighborhood who all had mini bikes and dirt bikes told me to get that off the side of the shed and start it up and ride with them.
Yeah.
And I did, and I was absolutely hooked, and that's all I wanted to do until I went off to school. And then I forgot all about it and had no interest at all. Got into sports cars and then Jeeps and all the other outdoor activities, but I had no desire to ride a motorcycle. And your background is with your mother.
Right. My mom, when I was in high school, actually came home with a motorcycle about my 10th grade year. She came home with a motorcycle that she would ride all over the place. My brother would take off and go riding in the early days of long before anybody called them adventure riding, but I'd go on a long run because I was always a runner back then too, and she'd ride out and meet me, and I'd hop on the back of the bike and we'd ride it and get into trouble and drop it in creeks and do crazy things back then, but I could never ride it by myself because I couldn't reach the ground. So I had no interest and no awareness of it past that.
And you don't know where it went?
Still no idea.
No, I
had moved out of the house by then.
So fast forward about 30 years or so.
40.
And one day I said to Tambra, I kind of miss having a motorcycle. And I don't know where it came from. Midlife crisis, I suppose. Just another phase, you know. And my phases for me run about 20 years. And I said, I think I want to get one. And it kind of took her by surprise. She probably thought I was joking. And I wasn't. But it simmered in my head for a couple years, and then I surprised her on her 50th birthday with her own motorcycle. I didn't have one.
The
you know,
soft sell, you know how it goes.
yes, that was my strategy. And it was a street bike. It was a mild Chinese built 250, fully automatic, which it's a really strange thing.
Yeah.
And
But it got me on two wheels outside of a mountain bike.
she warmed up to it. She gave it a pretty cold response at first, but but the problem was we had one motorcycle between the two of us.
Right.
And so coincidentally, a few months later, because this was in the fall, a few months later, an old high school friend of mine put up for sale the exact same thing. It turns out there was a local dealer who sold them. CF Moto made them. Long before CF Moto was known, they made these things, and a local dealer sold them, and they were just sort of whimsical things and sort of ugly and just bizarre. But we wound up with matching CF Moto
Mine
V5s.
was yellow, his was black.
Hers was yellow, mine was black.
Nice.
And that whole first season, we rode them around together, and she would sometimes go off the road, and I'd find her in a ditch. And you know, it took a beating, but
There's a learning curve here.
She got a feel for actual motorcycle riding, and we both had permits, and that's what we did. And then it kind of expanded from there.
We'd already begun the cross adventuring stuff, though.
Yeah,
because we were doing all the outdoor recreation.
Right.
So that kind of was a prelude to all this, that we were already backpacking and mountain biking and, you know, all the other water sports and everything. So everything was always just active.
And my pitch to you with motorcycles was, we can camp off of them.
And I'm
that
like,
was the
okay.
And that was really my plan originally.
Yeah.
When I wanted a motorcycle, originally I wanted a dual sport bike. And I didn't have a whole lot of money, and when I saw what even used ones cost, it was out of my budget. So these Chinese things were cheap, and it got us going. And so then the following year, I felt that I needed something a little more serious, and I wanted to commute to work. So I found a killer deal on a 2001 MZ Scorpion Tour. And not many people know what that is. And it's just as weird as that CF Moto V5. So it just went right along with the way I do things. And it was a great deal because it came with a ton of spare parts. And it's a bike that actually has a lot of respect in Europe and England. They have their own race, and still probably do, with that particular bike. It's called the Scorpion whatever, and they road race them. But it's basically a naked bike with a single 660 rebranded Yamaha in it, and sort of a strange hybrid carb setup. Puts out about 48 horsepower, and they came in three versions. There was a sport version, touring version, which mine was not, even though it was called a tour, and the tour was actually a naked version. Well, I thought it sort of resembled modern adventure bikes, so I went and got myself some Tusk panniers for it, and found that I could get a rack from a guy in Europe, Belgium, and he sent me the rack for it that was originally available for the bike. The company MZ was East German and had already they did go out of business probably by the time I got that thing. And they were actually one of the oldest motorcycle manufacturers in the world. But unless you're familiar with the whole European scene, a lot of people in the U.S. aren't familiar with them. So I made that. I put these Avon Trail Rider tires on it and rode it in dirt, and managed to break my shoulder doing that, which put me out of commission for and it was the end of the season.
It was just over winter.
It was in the fall when you take chances. And I did, and so it put me out of commission for the rest of that season. And I thought, I'll be ready by spring. Well, come February,
we went skiing.
I figured I was healed up enough to go skiing, and I went over a 30-foot cliff and landed inverted and nearly broke my neck, damaged the other shoulder that I hadn't broken.
Yeah.
So I came into that season, that was 2021,
21.
came into that season a little bit battered. But by the time the weather cleared up, I was back on that Scorpion and riding it again. And that's when we started thinking about dual sport. And
But I was actually a little bit off the whole bike thing. I was a little bit annoyed with it.
Yeah.
I really didn't like the CF Moto. I didn't like being on the highway at all.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do, you know, and the seating position was different. So I wasn't really comfortable with it. I really wanted more of the standard where it was more like a mountain bike ride, you know, more of that straight up and down where I was into the ride. But I'd never had really any chance to do any kind of actual dirt riding or any kind of, you know, over the gravel or this or that. So he surprised me actually with a little
SSR 125.
125. And
the rare 4-speed version.
So I learned how, you know, I just barely had already learned how to shift, but I really needed to learn how to shift and how to really ride. So that was, you know, we started taking it up to the National Forest, the Allegheny National Forest, and taking it on, you know, where'd we go? Marionville trails particularly, and just Timberline, just getting a real feel for how to actually ride and maneuver a bike rather than just straight down the highway.
Yeah.
So that was a big breakthrough for me. And at that point, I'm like, I think I like this. Let's do this. I love the idea of camping and moto camping off the bike.
Yeah.
And it fit so well with, you know, everything else we had. But I needed to get really comfortable just maneuvering a bike.
But we were playing kind of leapfrog at that point because I didn't have a dirt bike and she did. And so we had to figure something out, and I found a great deal on an 04 KLR 250. And I got to tell you, I fell in love with that thing, and it was pretty beat up. It was an R title, and it had bent forks, and I rode it that way for a while until I realized the forks were bent. I got
a lot of learning curves here.
I got it all repaired, and so then I could ride with her on the ANF trails on the little SSR, and that was that season. That's what we did.
We had a lot of fun.
But
then by the fall,
we had concluded that we were still not equal because mine was a dual sport.
I could
and
I
hers
go on
was
the
not.
highway.
So we couldn't do any highway hopping, and so just by coincidence, that fall, a friend called us and said, "Hey, my neighbor has a TW200 for sale." And so
I'd already concluded that was probably going to be the bike that at 5 feet tall, I could probably ride. Like, I'll go give it a try.
And the instant she hopped on it, she was smitten. So, and I thought it was a clown bike, you know, I made fun of it and everything. And then I said, well, since I'm going to be wrenching on this thing, I better get familiar with it. So I rode it to work one day, and I decided to take the long way home. And I cut through the woods, and I've caught myself singing to myself the whole time. Just if you ever see T-Dub's kid, he's the TW guy, and he's a hoot because he sings a lot when he rides and makes funny voices. And I caught myself doing the exact same thing. As soon as I got home, I said, we have to get another one. The bonus was that we could fit 2 TWs in the bed of my truck with the tailgate up. So that was the solution that we'd been looking for camping. So we would go take the truck camping and then use the bikes to get around, and we actually still camp out of the bed of the truck. And by spring we found mine, so that got us started on the whole TW journey, and that's when our YouTube channel really started to take off.
We decided to go on a big moto camping trip off the bikes, not just out of the truck. So that whole first trip was quite an experiment, really.
Yeah, it was. And what we did, the Cross PA Adventure Trail had just been unveiled, I think, that year. And we said, well, we want to be one of the first to do it. And so we had our friend Ginny take us from one end of the state to the other, hauling those TWs on a trailer. And we started where the CPAT starts on the Delaware River. We had a week's worth of provisions packed on those TWs, and
a lot of backpacking meals.
And it's bike packing, as we like to call it, but moto camping comes so natural to us, and it seems so luxurious because we're used to backpacking, where if you have a 40-pound pack, that's about all you want to be carrying. You can double that on even a TW. And you're thinking, man,
we have a chair to sit in.
I can bring stuff that I would never bring in a backpack. And so we just loved it, and we still do. And that's our thing. That's really been what has kept us so interested in the combination of riding and camping.
Yeah. That's kind of when our paths crossed, I guess, because like when we first met, you guys had the T-dubs, and I remember talking to you guys about that because that's, I didn't ride when I was younger, so I took the Motorcycle Safety Foundation basic rider course, and they had a TW there, so I rode it, and same thing, I love that thing. Whenever they had us just kind of goof around practicing, I think I was singing to myself too. It was so much fun. Just a fun bike. But that, it makes sense, like after I met you guys and I took a deeper dive into some of your YouTube stuff, and I saw all the outdoor stuff, non-motorcycle related. And I was like, oh, this is definitely like a perfect fit for you guys. Like the moto camping, you found the perfect bikes. You got 2 of them, easy to maintain then, easy to kind of keep track of everything. It's just a perfect setup for you.
Yeah, it was a nice evolution because we had so much of, the actual camping gear already. And then we made tweaks along the way, and it opened up a new experience where you could go, like coming across originally on the CPAT was just an amazing opportunity. We could camp at a campground along the way. We could stop at a waterfall and check it out. We could do a little hike, here or there. We could stop for food in the middle of the day if we needed to, have a campfire at night, cook what we wanted. And then also, the wild camping side, which I really enjoyed. And we had a couple of nasty thunderstorms, so we had that full experience of everything, hunkering down as the storms are coming through. But we were able to have the gear we needed at all times. And we learned a lot.
And at the same time, we weren't fully aware of the cult following that the TW has. So we were a little bit surprised at the instant popularity of our YouTube channel, just because it was about TWs at that point. And when we veer away from the TW content, we get ignored.
Not completely.
That's funny. Yeah, that's what I like about the genesis of your thing, because you still do like just general outdoor stuff. But like the fact that you kind of started later in life, you were an outdoorsy people already, and you brought that into the motorcycle thing. A lot of the content that you guys put out, I think, is very helpful for people in similar situations to kind of not be as intimidated by it. Like you've already mentioned, you're a short rider, so dealing with that. So you've been able to share a lot of your, your journey with everybody, and I think that's super helpful for a lot of people.
Well, and it's been a learning process too, as I've already mentioned, in the sense that each item we do, we've done some gear type reviews and different things like that. We've learned what works and what doesn't work, but also how you can take what you have, or how it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to go buy the greatest thing on the market to do something. And, that's been a fun process, is to realize anyone can get into this at a doable level and an affordable level.
And I think that's part of the appeal of the TW, even though they are still kind of overpriced for what they are. They're still a heck of a lot cheaper than, your typical $10,000 entry level ADV.
Right.
They're, I think people really like the thought, like when I was looking at dual sport bikes and got sticker shock, I wasn't aware of the TW, and it wasn't an option to me. It was, it had to be a Honda CRF or something like that. And people see the TW and they see that it's within reach of a budget.
Oh yeah.
And what we've done out of necessity for ourselves is gone low budget. In fact, the stove that we carried for the first 2 or 3 years moto camping is made from a pop can and burns
well, not because we couldn't
alcohol.
afford something more. It was because it was a fun, quirky way to do it too.
But at the
but
same
it makes
time,
it doable. It's
at the same
it's a
time,
fun
you know,
angle.
if you're on a budget and you want to spend more money on one thing than another, and skimp on
you
a
can
stove.
start on something.
So we still need to get a video out there to show how to make those things. You can make them with a pocket knife, and we have cooked now.
We did the entire CPAT using that to cook on.
they're only good for boiling water. You can't make any gourmet meals out of them, but they worked for us.
Yeah, so it's fun. You get to experiment with different things along the way too, and you know, that was part of the evolution of dabbling in it. Is this something that we want to do longer term? Do we want to put more money, you know, into the whole concept? Are we enjoying it enough, you know, to maybe go to the next level, which we have actually done? So it was that evolution of, you know, not throwing tons of money into something, checking it out, learning some skills, you know, along the way. I did a couple clinics with you, you know, and that really helped a lot. You know, we got exposed to some different techniques for riding, you know, if it's single track or something, or through the water. You know, we learned a lot along the way, but it was a manageable way of learning, especially for me. He was fine, but I'm like, you know, I am 5 feet tall. I'm later in my 50s as a woman. It's usually an age when most women don't go ahead and try anything new like this. But, you know, through especially the TWs, I think we've brought 4 other women into riding because of it, because they saw that the riding was not out on the highway necessarily 70 miles an hour. I mean, but it was, let's explore the backwoods, let's explore the parks, let's explore and enjoy, you know, the natural side, you know, and just to enjoy it all.
And no one visits us without us putting them on a TW and sending them out into the field out back.
We have several levels of bikes for them to try now.
Well, we can put them on it. We still have the 125. We can put them on that, but once they've been on a TW, they won't go back.
It's a good starter bike.
That's the thing I like about what you guys have done. Like like you said, your early YouTube stuff was just outdoor centric. Right. And what you've done is you've been able to find a new tool to use to help you get outdoors, and that's really what most people are trying to do. And the fact that you guys don't go with like the super high class, super expensive stuff, that you make it more approachable for people. And it just goes to show things that, you know, I've said in the past, you guys have said about, you can turn any bike into an adventure bike. This TWs have taken you along all kind of stuff. I know you guys did the PAYs, BRX, and all guys just like that, camping off the bikes for multiple days. Super comfortable, and you guys seem to be having a great time out there. You know,
absolutely.
So that's what I love about your guys' content. Yeah,
the BDRX was just a fabulous trip. I would go ahead and do it again in a heartbeat on the TWs, or on the, you know, I have the Versus X300, and he has the V-Strom, and you know, we did the GOAT on it last year, part of the GOAT, the Great Ohio Adventure Trail, on those 2 bikes. But I would love to get back to the BDRX on either bike. It's just a fun way to enjoy everything. But you learn that, you know, you can get out and start on something and just give it a try, you know, get your gear together without going crazy, and you can keep evolving with it and learning as you go.
Yeah, and when we did our first trip to Colorado together 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we took the TWs and then my V-Strom, because that's all that would fit on the trailer. And
I didn't have the
Versus yet either, so that and it gave us some options.
But we trailered them out.
And we trailered them out there, and we just went nuts on the front range. We just rode all over.
Oh,
and
we had a blast. Camped up on the mountains in Pikes Peak Shadow.
Right, and it gave us a great option for exploring that area, and I would recommend that to anybody. And the TWs got up to 10,000 feet, and no problem with the carburetors. I probably wouldn't have wanted to take one up Pikes Peak like I did with the V-Strom, but
I wasn't going to try that on the TW.
But she's going to go back and do Pikes Peak on
the Versus.
Maybe the Versus. We'll see.
There you go.
On a slow day when there's not a ton of traffic, maybe.
speaking of the versus, she's mentioned her, her height constraint.
Yeah.
And when we were looking to move up to something where she would have something a little more comparable to my V-Strom, we were very limited. And we did a video talking about the options that we looked at and why we picked what we did.
Yeah.
But there's a trade-off. She will never have the ground clearance that you really would want to go off-road.
Yeah.
But the Versus has everything else, and it's a tiny little parallel twin, so it's super smooth on the highway. It's efficient, has just enough power to get out there and get in with traffic to get to where you want to go.
It's a zippy little bike.
And it's, has the huge tank, 4.5 gallon tank on it, and the fairing so that it's good in the wind. And then it's really a nimble little bike.
Mm-hmm.
It's under 400 pounds. So it's lighter and more nimble than a Himalayan, and she's very comfortable with it.
Well, when we did the ride last year with you at the in May at the Great Adventures Begin Here,
Yeah.
it was great. The rally, I was able to keep up finally. Usually on the TW, everybody else hops on the highway, and I'm like, I'm coming, doing the Flintstone mode on the TW, and I'm trying to catch up, and then I catch up, and you're all going, we're good.
Yeah.
This last year, I had no problem keeping up on any of it. That last little part, even whether it was highway or then on the last little section we did with you, that nice little hill climb that was pretty much single track up and straight over. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't done this on this yet. And we just went straight up, and I never hesitated.
She did better on that hill climb than I did.
Yeah, that's true.
That's because she went through my clinic, man.
There you go.
You're shaming me now.
Well, the guy on the scooter cupped up too, man. He was right there with us the whole time.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Yeah. He's an excellent rider. I think he's won the slow race almost every year he's been there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's a great
show.
event.
Any bike will do it,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great event. That's a great introductory event for a lot of people. And, we've brought different people over to that. And we've had people find out we were going to be there and then come up to meet us there that we didn't even know yet. So that was kind of cool a couple times.
Yeah, that's been great. Like right now, as of this recording, which is the end of March here, as far as registration, it's about 100.
Oh, good.
Far. I'm
Definitely
working on getting a food truck there maybe this time, and she was showing the BDR movie, all that stuff. That was my goal with that one, was to make it a nice intro to adventure riding, give people a chance to come out. It's, a completely free event. Street Track Trail puts on. I just basically help them promote it and run it for them. But it's been a great introduction for people to kind of get into it and then realize that it's not as intimidating as they thought. We're out there to have a good time and help people get through things. And I always like to put a challenge in there here and there, just like that little 2-track that I didn't tell anybody about. But I try to make it so I know even if you don't have much experience, it's something you can get through. Right. And I do remember digging that V-Strom out of a big old mud pit. In that challenge area that we took everybody through.
I have to tell you that I'm actually ashamed that I haven't done anything like that since. On the goat, I laid it down one time in a rocky section.
Yeah.
But I have not done any epic water crossings that would be similar to that, and I intend to. And I have better tires now too. I'm running Tractionators on it now.
There you go.
But I haven't I just haven't. Now you're probably going to make me do that this time. But I also went where you said not to go. You're pointing one way, and I'm riding straight ahead.
Well, especially with those tires, sometimes you don't. The bike will take you where it wants to go, and I think that's maybe what happened too.
Well, that, and I was just being stubborn.
I can't imagine.
I was like, I saw it, and I thought, how bad can this be?
And how many guys did it take to get you out?
Well, there were 5. My other 5.
By the time you came through, I had stopped everybody there because I know that's a spot that people get stuck up on. So you were towards the end. By the time you came through, there was 12 of us standing there. So everybody just wanted to help.
Put a hand up.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing about how I do these things. I know where the hard spot's at. So usually I'll stop and I'll watch because I know people are going to fall. It's a good opportunity to help them out,
I have a theory about the misadventures on adventures. It's like those are the things that give us stories.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
if you don't have a misadventure in an activity, you're not going to have a story to share.
Very true. Yeah. Just like
Yeah.
them storms you were talking about coming through, that helps add to the story, you know?
Oh my goodness. We
Yeah.
have stories.
Yeah, from a videographer's perspective, I'm always mad that I shut things off when it gets really bad.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that I could have gotten some great footage on where we were in torrential rain. Of course, the
Of
cameras
course,
would have failed by then,
right.
but
We had water
we
issues at
we
that point.
and I think we did talk about it but that one storm that we had to build a little temporary shelter
Mm-hmm.
to get out from under,
Oh, jeez.
my GoPro battery charger caught on fire.
On the bike,
Oh,
It was
on the handlebars.
sitting on the handlebars of the bike, and I had
We're
it
like,
wired in.
what's that smell in the pouring down torrential rain with lightning and thunder around us?
Here, what I didn't realize was water was pouring into it, and it
yeah.
shorted out and was just flaming out.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Lots of stories.
Yeah. Well, speaking of rain and you being a videographer, I did have Tambra come to a clinic, and I don't remember. It was you and another lady.
I think it was right, April. That one April. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of early, and it was real super rainy, very, very wet.
Yes.
And you guys came up, and you know, Mike was gracious enough to take some video of some of the action, and
Mm-hmm.
that I turned in. You know, you provided me with that footage, and I did a little voiceover myself, and you know, kind of tweaked it around. And that is basically the beginner intermediate clinic video that's on my YouTube channel. Is from that time you guys came up, which was super awesome. I was really glad that you did, just because it was fun to work with just two people, and just both the females was great too. It gave me like a nice different perspective, because you guys were both kind of newer to riding and trying to work on a lot of skills, so it really helped me a lot. You know, not the fact that you were trained, but also the fact that Mike was able to come and take some video.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good day for that. I mean, it was cold and wet, but it was a good day because the situation was about the worst conditions you could have learned anything in. And, you know, you were able to walk us through every single piece of that, you know, and we were able to accomplish what you were guiding us through and directing us on. And you know, it's nice to have captured that.
Yeah. We got lucky, like, by the end of the day when we went out and did the real world thing. Luckily it stopped and we had a nice blue sky, but
that's true.
Trails we went in were a little sloppy, so part of the clinic is traction. You know, how to break traction, how to work and lose traction.
Right.
And Mother Nature just gave us a little bit more to work with, I guess.
Definitely. Well, you always find some new places, especially on the different rides I've done with you as a newbie, as a little bit more fearful, you know, being a woman and being short and being older, you know, all those things that get in a woman's head, especially. Yeah. You know, you always seem to put me in a good position to find the confidence to do something and convince me that I can do it. You know, whether it's a slick hill climb that I see guys wiping out on, I'm like, okay, I'll go do that, but I don't guarantee anything. Well, then I do it.
As you know, Kane, the best time to take chances is when you have that support right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you know, I would say that to anybody who might be apprehensive of doing one of those rides or apprehensive to push themselves a little harder. That's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just learning to believe that what you're teaching me or you're teaching the other person, like when you listen and you've practiced it a bit and then you put it in motion in those situations, to just trust that process. Whether your mind is telling you to or not, you've got to decide your mind is telling you and just do it.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like, some of the trust is the bike. So when you're with a group and you see other bikes going through the thing, you're like, oh, okay, my bike can do it. Now I need to be able to get the confidence in myself. And that is definitely like a big piece of what I tried to build.
Exactly.
In all of these things, whether it was a clinic or a rally or a tour, like, it's your opportunity. We're here as a group. You know, we're going to be friends by the end of this because we're going to help each other drag bikes through things. Like, that's part of the process. And letting people kind of take that opportunity has been definitely like a big goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the support side is probably underrated aspect of these kind of events. You know, we've been on some of the rides with you where, of course, we've worked through all these things and, you know, worked through riding through rice paddy mud level and the ponds and everything else. But at the same point, you know, I've seen where, you know, one guy will get a flat tire and everybody has the tools and the knowledge to go boom, get it done and fix it, and we're all up and riding again. You know, to learn those aspects, it's learning things in a group that you wouldn't learn completely by yourself, because you maybe have not had that experience, but you can learn from each other and have that security of knowing that others are there to help you figure it out. Or, you know, that one time, the little spring on my kickstand in the middle of one of your rides came off, and we had to figure out how to get that all figured out in the middle of a ride, and it worked fine. We got it figured out with everybody. It's the little things.
Luckily, somebody found it laying on the ground somewhere.
Well, we found that, but then we figured it out. Trailside repairs.
Yeah, that's always a wild card for sure. It's
Mm-hmm.
nice in a way. Like, I don't want things bad to happen or have somebody have a
No.
broken bike, but like a flat tire or a little thing like that, that's kind of
Right.
nice because it gives people opportunity to learn. Because, you know, there's more than one way to change a tire in
Exactly.
a tube kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
you get different point of view people, and it's kind of nice to kind of work as a group too to, you know, fix an issue.
Right, and people learn that having a little issue may not be the disaster if you were alone that you would have it in your mind to be, and so you develop confidence that a little thing doesn't have to be unfixable. There are ways to fix it on the trail, on the road, pretty easily in most cases.
You know, going back to this Great Adventures Begin Here rally that we do at Street Track and Trail.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have been coming out to that one, I think, since the first one, right? You guys came out to the
I think
first
that
one
was
you
the
did.
first year you did it, and we rode in. Yeah, that was the first year.
It was all muddy and rainy, just like
Yes.
normal up there, I guess. But I remember, like, 'cause my parents were up there, and I remember my wife and my mom were like, "What's that bike she's on?" And they were just so impressed with that you were out there riding and on that bike, and they were, you know, it kind of piqued their interest a little bit, which was great. So it's been awesome that you guys have been able to come up to those each time, and you're coming again this year, and we're gonna do a little, have you guys do, you know, some type of presentation. I think on
We'll be a little
Saturday
more
night, maybe.
organized this year, I think, with something. And
Yeah, that's my goal too, is to try to make it. I had like a tentative schedule, but it all kind of went crazy.
right.
So I'm trying to build it this year so we can kind of stick to a bit more of a time frames and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys have been working on, you know, what you guys want to talk about out there, so I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I think we have a nice approach for people who are particularly really wondering if they can get into this, or what it means to be involved and to enjoy a different aspect of motorcycles than people first think of when they think, oh, you ride motorcycles.
Yeah, we've introduced some friends to it, and I think that both of us still being so fresh to riding,
Yeah.
we really understand that entry level perspective
Right.
of and the little bit of intimidation that comes along with it. We actually, I forgot to mention, when we first met, we did a lot of mountain bike riding. And there are some people who are maybe looking to do that transition from mountain bikes to motorized bikes, but especially the women that are out there, I think that we can make a good connection through Tambra and of course shorter people, both men and women, and we can show them the options. I would really like to have the Versus there to show, because it's been lowered.
Yeah.
There are quite a few modifications to that bike that sometimes we just want people to sit on it. Just sit on that, and even though it looks big and heavy and all that, they're amazed once they get on it. And those are the kind of things we've just always been the type to want to share our passions. Everything we do, we wind up teaching.
We always end up teaching it.
We taught kayaking classes, we taught windsurfing classes. Everything we do, we just sort of, it happens.
Wilderness survival,
geocaching, and
yeah.
So then, you know, aside from the bikes themselves, we love to talk about the camping experience. And there are a lot of people out there who haven't done any backpacking or slept in a tent or anything. And with today's technology and the gadgets that are out there, it's never been a better time to do it. In fact, we might bring a couple of little prizes with us that are maybe some gadgets that we love, that we want somebody to go home with at that event.
That's great. Yeah, that's the thing I like about going through your YouTube channel and like browsing through. Like, you could tell you guys do like to share like your experiences, so people, and that part of that is whatever community that is that does those things, you're providing something back to them. That's kind of what
Right.
I liked about your content there is you are really like engaged in the communities that you're promoting, and you're trying to give something back into them. So that's kind of why I wanted you guys to come up to these great adventures rallies, because it's a perfect place to talk about the things you're talking about, the, you know, coming in later in life, you know, shorter people, and, you know, all those things. It's
Right.
perfect to give back to the community.
Right. And combining some of our, you know, our favorite types of things, you know, obviously we can't carry a kayak anymore, but we, you know, we keep adapting as we go forward. And I always remind him, I said, I was always a water girl. I wanted to be on the water and do things. So I didn't want to give up things that we've enjoyed in the past, you know, the camping, the kayaking, the different things. But the bikes have actually allowed us to keep morphing and incorporating our different aspects. So this last year, we added something more fun.
Right. Yeah. So last year, she reminded me last year that if we didn't keep the water sports things
A little bit in there.
in our lives, there might be a problem. So we got ourselves each inflatable paddle boards.
Nice, yeah.
And they will pack on the bikes.
Oh,
They'll even
perfect.
pack on a TW. They weigh about 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and we did one video on that,
Yeah. But we've taken a couple trips now with the paddle boards strapped on the back, go to the water like Lake Erie. We'll go up the peninsula.
Yeah.
Take those off, you know, use a little inflator, paddle and play in the water all day, get on the bike and ride back home.
So we're hoping to do more of that this year.
So there's always ways to incorporate things that you enjoy, I guess.
It's having an adventure off of your adventure.
Absolutely. We just keep it going.
So is there any other like upcoming projects that you're, you know, looking at doing or excited about sharing with people?
Yeah, we've been talking about this one for a couple of years now, and it's been, even before we were riding bikes, we were going to do it. And we've, you know, we go out and we've done this, but we haven't put it on the channel. But in Venango County, during the 1830s through the 1850s, there were as many as 24 iron furnaces, cold blast iron furnaces that were in production during that time that produced pig iron that was used in the steel industry in Pittsburgh. And it was a huge part of the local economy, but it's been long forgotten. The thing about these iron furnaces is the sites where they were and where the furnace itself can still be found are often very remote. So enter TW200, and that's how we can get to them.
Yeah.
We originally had planned to do it with my Jeep and do a little bushwhacking with that, but the Jeep's gone now, and the bikes are actually a better choice for it. So we've been planning for a while now to do an entire series on our channel about the adventure of finding these old iron furnaces and then documenting
the history
behind them, which we've done. We've already done the research part of it now, and we've probably been to half of them.
Yeah.
So we know where half of them are. The other half we still don't know, and the experience of finding them, that's going to be a lot of that content. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We also used to, when we met, we did a whole lot of geocaching. And for those who aren't familiar with it, it's been around a while, since 2000. I got into it in 2001. It was a big part of what we did when we first met on our hikes. And it's basically hiking with a purpose, because you're going out with a handheld GPS unit. Now you can do it with your phone, and you're finding something that someone has hidden out in the woods or wherever. And it's kind of cool, because this is a treasure hunt, and you might find a container that has some neat little trinkets that somebody has left there. You can bring a trinket and then trade it out and have a little keepsake from the place that you visited. And the best geocaches are the ones that take you to a really interesting spot, like an old iron furnace, or
last year the CCT camp.
We
found stuff there.
We went to and that's another video we're working on, but But I found so many cool places just by geocaching, and we want to sort of get back into that only geocaching off the bikes, which we have done, but there's nothing on the channel yet. We've been promising it for a while, but
This will hold
it's
them to it now.
and it's sort of it reached its peak, I think, back in around 2010 probably. And but it has these little resurgences. It's a great family activity, and of course we feel that it's great for dual sport riding because the bike can get you there, and then you reach a point where you can't ride anymore, you park it, you get off and hike, and it just combines those things. But she mentioned the CCC camp. We went looking. I don't know if have you been to it, Kane?
Which one?
There was a CCC camp in the Allegheny National Forest that was used during World War II as a POW camp.
Yeah, my grandfather used to have a cabin right next to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we went there last year, and I'm working on the video of that, and we actually had a great chat with the caretaker, and
nice.
We had been hearing about it for a while, but we didn't know where to look, and we finally just sort of stumbled onto it.
It was during the Allegheny Jamboree.
It was during the Jamboree. That's why we missed That's why we missed the group ride that day. And so, the background behind that's pretty fascinating. Places like that, you know, if you look on our channel, we did a couple years ago, we did a trip to find the old dynamite cave that's also in the National Forest.
Okay.
And it was just spur of the moment. One day we were looking for some place to ride to, and one of the guys with us said, "Hey, let's go find the old dynamite cave." And we didn't know. We asked some people, nobody knew.
Yeah.
We had a crazy steep hike going up that hill to get to it, and then there's a whole lot of history there on that one as well.
We did post that video.
Yeah, that video is out there. I don't even remember what we called it, but it was fun. It's basically a hole in the side of a rock that they hollowed out and stored explosives in during the industrial period of the National Forest.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about Pennsylvania. It's in Ohio. Like there's so much history to be uncovered, and like you said, like the adventure and dual sport bikes are perfect to highlight those things. Like when
your rides are really good at
actually go by that camp. There's so much history up there. It's amazing.
Well, on all your rides, you always seem to pull in all those nice little places to find, whether it's the one cemetery, that we've seen, or it's the old water tower here, or the this over there.
Yeah.
It is those really unique pieces that you can find out there that are definitely off the beaten path.
Well, I'm looking forward to running into you guys again here at the Great Adventures. And hopefully some other. I know you guys, when you were doing the GOAT last year, you came past through Whale and Wayne, and we were able to hang out there a little bit. So it's always fun when I hang out with you guys. So hopefully I'll see you more this year.
We are not going to miss Whale and Wayne this year. After last year's experience, we said never miss this again.
Awesome.
And then the Allegheny Jamboree will probably be there. We need to get signed up yet, but we're expecting to be there.
Yeah, we have a good time.